Thank my colleague from Rhode Island, Senator Klobuchar, Senator Kaine. We've all been teaming up to terminate Donald Trump's blanket taxes, blanket tariffs on products Americans buy from Canada. Once again, we've got an opportunity to cancel a Trump trade tax and put money back into the pockets of the American people. This is a chance for senators to show our constituents that we're going to act for them, not for special interests or some new presidential obsession. Unlike many of the nations Trump has slapped with taxes, there is already a comprehensive trade deal between the United States and Canada. It was written in the Senate Finance Committee room, and it was bipartisan. It was a trade deal negotiated by Donald Trump himself, and it got a significant bipartisan vote. Congress approved the deal, put it into black-letter law, and we made sure, Senator Brown in particular leading the fight, to have a bill with tough enforcement teeth to make sure the U.S. could hold Canada and Mexico to their commitments. This is the only way to ensure that farmers, workers, and businesses get the full benefit. But Trump trade taxes aren't addressing enforcement issues with Mexico and Canada or making the USMCA work better. Instead, he's unilaterally undermining supply chains across the board. He's imposed new tariffs on scores of products we buy from Canada, making groceries and housing, energy, and cars more expensive. He put a 50% tariff on steel and aluminum, a singularly bad idea. Beer, appliances, auto parts, all of them getting hammered by that tax. There are 8 million American jobs that depend on trade with Canada. Canada is the biggest export market for 32 American states. The trade war of Trump is destroying jobs and harming America and making our people poorer. Since national security was one of the mistakes for the Trump trade taxes on Canada, I have to point out that his trade war against our close ally is making American allies and us less safe. For one, Canada is a reliable source of energy, raw materials, and critical minerals that Canada has repeatedly used as a bargaining chip in trade talks. Critical minerals are essential to manufacturing in the high-tech and defense industries. The Trump administration has invested millions in developing the Canadian critical minerals industry as an alternative to China's near monopoly. But here's a key point, Mr. President. Instead of developing Canada as an alternative to China for raw materials, Donald Trump is driving our closest ally straight into the arms of China. The Canadian Prime Minister said last week that his country is looking to re-engage with India and China to find new markets and new allies that are more reliable than the United States. America would get better results on trade by buying spells from an Etsy witch. Trump's stated reason for blowing up commerce is fentanyl trafficking. Now, I don't take a backseat to anybody when it comes to cracking down on the scourge of fentanyl. Oregon is no stranger to the devastating effects that it's wreaked in our communities. But in reality, there is no crisis at the northern border. Less than 0.2% of fentanyl entering the United States comes from Canada. Some of my colleagues on the other side have voiced concerns about tariffs, but said they want to give Donald Trump more time to strike a deal. I would ask, what in the past 6 months makes you think that this is somehow magically going to get better? Instead of negotiating, Donald Trump spends his energy having tantrums about TV ads that accurately quote Ronald Reagan's position on tariffs. He's already increased these tariffs on Canada once. He's now threatening to jack up Canada tariffs by another 10% because one of their provinces, just one, took out the Reagan ad. Who would make a deal with a person who acts like this, who ignores a deal that was made just a few years ago, and who constantly threatens to annex their country? That's what Donald Trump has done with Canada. These tariffs are doing nothing to help Americans. They're unrelated to trade disputes. I hope every senator will vote to repeal the taxes on Canadian goods and help lower costs for our constituents. I thank the President. Yield back.